As we age, we all want to live longer, healthier lives. But did you know that walking less could actually help you achieve that? If you've ever felt like walking is more tiring than beneficial, you're not alone. Many seniors struggle with joint pain and exhaustion after long walks. What if I told you that there are 5 powerful alternatives that could improve your health and increase your chances of living to 90 without the strain of constant walking? Recent studies show these alternatives may be more effective for seniors, offering not only physical health benefits, but also better mental clarity and emotional well-being. The best part? You can start right now, and the sooner you do, the sooner you'll see results. Time is precious, so why miss out on a healthier, longer life? Interested in learning these 5 alternatives? Stick with me, you won't want to miss this. If this interests you, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. And subscribe for more tips on living a long and healthy life. Let's move forward. Number 1, strength training. Have you ever wondered what might be the secret to aging well, staying active, and keeping your independence as you get older? The answer might be simpler than you think, and it comes down to one key thing: strength training. Looking back on my life, I realized that staying active has always been important to me, not just for my body, but for my mind too. As the years pass, it becomes more challenging, but strength training, even with light weights, has been a game changer. It's not just about staying mobile, it's about maintaining my independence and the freedom to live life on my terms. I no longer need to rely on others for the little things. Strength training is like building a foundation, one rep at a time, that keeps me feeling strong, confident, and free. Strength training isn't about bulking up or lifting heavy weights. It's about keeping the muscles we use every day strong, especially those that walking alone can't maintain. As we age, we lose muscle mass in simple tasks like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or even getting up from a chair can become more difficult. But strength training helps counteract that. By adding light weights or resistance exercises, you ensure your muscles stay strong enough to support your daily activities. Without it, muscles that don't get used enough begin to fade, increasing the risk of falls and injury. Take Helen's story, for example. Helen, in her mid-70s, was always active but never thought about strength training. She loved walking, but over time she found herself winded easily and tripping more often. After a fall, she realized she needed to make a change. Helen added simple strength exercises to her routine: light dumbbell lifts, squats, and leg raises. In just a few months, her balance improved. She felt stronger, and most importantly, she felt less afraid of falling. Helen was able to enjoy her walks again without the fear of losing balance. The benefits of strength training became so clear to her that she now encourages others to give it a try. Research supports this too. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that participants in strength training programs showed improved balance and had a lower risk of falling. It's not just about building muscle, it's about ensuring those muscles are strong enough to support everyday activities. Keeping muscles intact allows us to remain independent, whether it's doing yard work, playing with the grandkids, or standing up from a chair without help. Wondering if it's too late to start? The answer is no. It's never too late. The body is more capable than we give it credit for, and small, simple changes can make a huge difference. You don't need hours at the gym or to push yourself hard. Start with light weights or resistance bands. Try a few squats or arm curls at home. You don't have to do much, but consistency is key. A few times a week and you'll notice your strength and confidence growing. The key isn't lifting heavy weights, it's using what you have to stay strong. You'll feel the difference when getting up becomes easier. Your walks feel longer, and you feel more stable with every step. You're never too old to begin. The small steps you take now will make a big difference in the years ahead. Start with just 1 or 2 simple exercises, and soon you'll realize that staying strong is one of the best gifts you can give yourself for the future. While strength training plays a crucial role in maintaining muscle mass and overall health, it's not the only thing we need to focus on as we grow older. To truly stay independent, we must also pay attention to balance, an equally important aspect of aging well. Number 2, balance training. What would it feel like to move through life with a steady, confident stride, no matter your age? The truth is, balance is one of the most important aspects of maintaining independence as you grow older, and yet it's often the most overlooked. Balance is something that cannot be taken for granted, especially as time goes by. Just consider how often we rely on balance in our daily lives, whether it's walking down the street, climbing stairs, or simply moving around the house. As we age, the body naturally loses some of its stability, and many people find themselves avoiding certain activities due to fear of losing their footing. But maintaining balance is a powerful tool that allows you to live more confidently and independently, knowing you can handle life's little challenges with ease. Take George, for example. George is in his early 80s, and for much of his life, he never worried much about balance. But like many people his age, as time passed, he started avoiding rough surfaces and weather conditions that might make walking more difficult. A few years ago, George's doctor warned him that his balance was becoming a concern. It wasn't long before he realized how much he had been limiting his activities and how much he missed the freedom to move about his daily life without hesitation. George decided to take action. He began practicing balance exercises every morning. It started with something simple, like standing on one leg for 30 seconds. As he grew more confident, he added heel-to-toe walking and gentle exercises on a balance pad. It didn't take long for George to notice the improvements. His steps became more confident, and he felt steadier even in his own backyard. He was no longer afraid to take the stairs in his home or walk on uneven terrain when out and about. What began as a simple routine turned into a life-changing habit that improved not only his balance, but also his confidence and independence. Now consider someone like Robert, who is the same age as George but hasn't prioritized balance training. Robert, too, avoids rough surfaces and stays indoors when the weather is poor. However, unlike George, Robert hasn't taken steps to strengthen his balance. Over time, Robert became more cautious, but not in a way that empowered him. Instead, he developed a fear of falling that has kept him from engaging in everyday activities. Robert hesitates on stairs and feels unsure on even familiar paths. The contrast between George and Robert is stark. George's decision to incorporate balance exercises into his routine has helped him maintain his independence and live with confidence, while Robert's reluctance to address his balance has left him more reliant on others and less active. The difference lies in the simple choice to take charge of balance training. Balance exercises are not just for athletes or younger people. They're essential for everyone, especially as you age. Research supports this, showing that older adults who practice balance exercises 3 times a week can reduce their risk of falling by as much as 50%. Imagine cutting your chances of falling in half by taking just a few minutes every day to improve your balance. The best part is that you don't need fancy equipment to get started. You don't even need a gym. All you need is a bit of space in your living room or backyard. You can practice standing on one leg while brushing your teeth or walking heel-to-toe down your hallway. If you enjoy Tai Chi or yoga, these are also great ways to strengthen balance. The key is consistency, small steps every day that add up over time. Start today. It's never too late to begin. Incorporating balance exercises into your routine will not only help you feel more steady, but also give you the freedom to move through life confidently. Take charge now and keep walking through life with confidence, no matter what challenges come your way. Now that we've discussed the importance of balance, let's explore another key factor that contributes to staying healthy and active as you age. Building resilience through strength and endurance. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 inches below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, building resilience. Have you ever thought about how important it is to feel strong, not just in terms of muscle, but in your ability to live freely, to carry out the little tasks that make up your day? As we get older, it becomes more and more clear that strength isn't just about how we look, it's about how we feel and how we live. I know from personal experience that strength training has been a game changer for me. It wasn't always easy to admit that I wasn't as strong as I used to be, but when I realized that simple tasks were becoming more challenging, like getting up from my favorite chair or carrying groceries up the stairs, I decided I needed to do something about it. I didn't want to feel weak or dependent, so I started with just a few exercises, and let me tell you, I've never looked back. Even with light weights and simple movements, I've been able to restore the strength I need to keep going. Strength training has brought a new vitality into my life that I didn't know I was missing. As we age, muscle mass naturally declines, And that's when those everyday activities start to feel like more of a challenge. Whether it's standing up, bending over to tie your shoes, or picking up the grandkids, muscle loss can make simple things seem exhausting. But here's the great news. This doesn't have to be a permanent part of aging. You can build and maintain muscle strength well into your later years with the right exercises. It doesn't take extreme workouts or spending hours at the gym. In fact, some of the best strength training exercises are simple and can be done right at home. Wall push-ups, chair squats, and light dumbbell lifts are all excellent ways to target those important muscles. And the benefits go beyond just strength. They also help maintain bone density and improve your metabolism. Even developing something as simple as grip strength can make a huge difference. Exercises like squeezing a tennis ball or using hand grips not only strengthen your hands, but are linked to better overall health and longevity. Take Mary, a woman I know who is in her early 70s. Mary loves spending time with her grandchildren, but she found that playing with them was becoming harder as she lost muscle strength. One day she realized that she was starting to feel winded after just a few minutes of running around with them. Instead of letting that discourage her, she took action. She started incorporating simple strength exercises into her daily routine. At first, just 10 minutes a day. She did wall push-ups, chair squats, and used a resistance band for arm exercises. Within a few weeks, she noticed a change. Her energy levels were up, and most importantly, she felt stronger. Soon, she was back to playing games with her grandchildren without feeling exhausted. The boost in her strength gave her the confidence to be more active and adventurous again, something she hadn't realized she was missing. The evidence backs this up too. Studies show that strength training helps not only with muscle preservation, but also with maintaining bone health and boosting metabolism. This means you're not just building strength, you're building resilience. You're equipping your body to handle the challenges of daily life and keeping it strong enough to enjoy all the activities you love. And it's not just physical health that benefits. When you feel strong, you feel more capable, more confident, and more willing to take on new experiences. So what can you do today? Start small. You don't need to jump into anything extreme. Maybe you start with a few chair squats while watching TV or try some light dumbbell lifts during your morning routine. It's these small steps that add up over time, leading to big changes. As you build strength, you'll find that your resilience grows, not just in your muscles, but in your life. And who knows? Maybe the next time you pick up those groceries or chase after the grandkids, you'll find yourself smiling because you've got the strength to make it all happen. Alongside strength and resilience, maintaining flexibility is crucial for preventing stiffness and discomfort as we age. This brings us to the next essential aspect of staying active: flexibility and balance. Number 4, flexibility and balance. Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling fluid, with no stiffness in your joints or tightness in your muscles, able to move through the day with ease and comfort, just like you used to. The good news is that this isn't just a dream. It's possible to feel more agile and pain-free no matter your age. The secret is in flexibility and balance. As we get older, our muscles naturally become tighter and our joints stiffer, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. Maintaining flexibility is key to moving comfortably and avoiding discomfort. I remember a few years ago, after a long day of gardening or playing with the grandkids, I would feel stiff and slow. But once I started incorporating stretching and balance exercises into my routine, it was like a weight had been lifted. My body started to feel freer, less restricted, and more at ease. It wasn't about reversing time, it was about embracing the body I have now and maximizing its potential so I could continue enjoying life to the fullest. Stretching, particularly for the legs, hips, and back, can significantly improve your range of motion. Even just a few minutes each morning can make a huge difference in how you feel throughout the day. But it's not only flexibility that matters. Balance is just as important. When your balance is off, you're more likely to trip or feel discomfort. Strengthening your balance not only helps you move more gracefully, but it also reduces the risk of falls and injuries. A simple exercise like standing on one foot is a perfect example. It may seem easy, but it's an excellent way to improve both balance and flexibility. Try holding the position for 20 seconds, and if it feels too simple, close your eyes to activate your stabilizing muscles even more. When I first started, I was amazed at how challenging it was to keep steady. Over time, I noticed a significant improvement in my balance and my ability to walk with more confidence, bend down, and even pick things up without that sharp pain in my knees. Yoga and Pilates are also fantastic because they focus on both flexibility and balance. They don't require much time or equipment and can be done at your own pace. I've found that just taking a few minutes each day for simple stretching or yoga poses not only benefits my body, but also calms my mind. It sets a peaceful tone for the day and gives me the energy to face whatever lies ahead. It's not just about preventing injuries. It's about feeling better overall. Stretching after physical activities or first thing in the morning helps keep your muscles loose and limber. Whether it's a few gentle stretches after a walk or reaching for the sky while sitting outside, small actions can lead to big improvements in how you move and feel. So if you're thinking, I don't have time for that, think again. You don't need hours of stretching to see the benefits. Start small. Just a few minutes each morning can help you feel more agile and less stiff. You deserve to feel good in your body, and with a little effort each day, it's entirely possible to enjoy the pain-free movement that lets you live life fully. Don't wait. Start today and see how much more your body can do. In addition to physical flexibility and balance, mental and social engagement play a pivotal role in keeping our bodies and minds healthy as we age. Let's dive into how staying mentally sharp and connected can help you maintain a fulfilling and active life. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 inches below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, mental and social engagement. Have you noticed how some people seem to age with a sharp mind and a positive outlook, while others feel like life loses its spark as the years go by? The secret may lie in something many overlook: mental and social engagement. Staying mentally active and maintaining connections with others don't just lift your mood, they can actually extend your life and improve its quality. As we grow older, it's easy to fall into the trap of slowing down. You might feel like it's time to withdraw from the hustle and bustle, spending your days in quieter, solitary activities. However, this shift can lead to missed opportunities for growth, joy, and learning. Staying curious and engaged with the world can bring vitality and help you feel younger, even as the years go by. Just think of how many seniors today are thriving by embracing technology, whether it's learning to use smartphones, participating in virtual fitness classes, or even starting online businesses. This trend isn't just a passing fad, it's a reflection of how powerful mental engagement can be in maintaining both health and happiness. The focus in aging often tends to be on physical health, joint pain, muscle strength, and endurance. But it's just as important to focus on mental sharpness. And in fact, it may be even more crucial. Studies show that engaging in mental activities like solving puzzles, learning a new language, or playing games that challenge your mind can slow cognitive decline. For example, learning something new creates new neural pathways in your brain, which helps to keep your mind sharp and your body healthier. And this isn't just theory, it's proven that staying mentally active contributes to longevity. Consider Jack, a man in his 80s who has always been a curious person. Jack solves crossword puzzles every morning and, more recently, picked up learning a new language just for fun. Over time, his mind has remained as sharp as ever, and he even started hosting a small book club with his friends. He attributes much of his mental sharpness to continuing to learn and challenge himself. It's not just about preventing cognitive decline, it's about actively enhancing your life. Engaging in stimulating conversations and learning new things can contribute to a sense of purpose and joy that few things can replace. But mental engagement isn't just about solitary activities. It's also about maintaining connections with others. In fact, socializing plays a key role in mental and emotional well-being. Look at the countless online communities or local clubs that offer opportunities for seniors to come together, whether it's a gardening club, a senior fitness group, or even a knitting circle. These interactions have been shown to reduce stress, boost mood, and provide emotional support. Engaging with others also fosters a sense of belonging and purpose, which is crucial for overall well-being. So how can you maintain your mental and emotional health as you age? The answer is simple. Stay curious and stay connected. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, learning a new skill, starting a conversation with someone you care about, or joining a local group, the key is to engage your mind and connect with others. You don't need to overcommit. Just a few minutes each day can make a significant difference in how you feel. Mental stimulation and social connections are the building blocks of longevity and well-being. So keep your mind sharp and your heart connected, and watch as your life becomes richer and more fulfilling, no matter your age. As we've seen, taking small steps to improve your strength, balance, flexibility, and mental engagement can have a profound impact on your overall well-being. These simple but powerful actions not only help you stay independent, but also give you the confidence and freedom to enjoy life fully, no matter your age. The key takeaway here is that it's never too late to start making changes. Whether you're adding a few strength exercises to your routine, spending time with loved ones, or challenging your mind with new learning, every effort counts. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's about progress and enjoying the journey towards a healthier, more vibrant life. So take one small step today and watch how it transforms your life tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tips and advice. Comment below with your thoughts or share your own experiences. Let's keep the conversation going. We'd love to hear how you're taking charge of your health and well-being. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, and remember, every day is an opportunity to start living your best life. See you soon.